Hello, Uncle Jim here. Today I want to share with you how I've been able to become financially independent and can retire early if I want to. I believe this is something most people can do. I'm going to share with you how I'm able to do this through my options premium, my dividends, as well as using the 4% rule in my budgeting. So stay tuned. I think you're really going to enjoy what I have for you today. Okay, I've got a lot to cover, so let's just jump right in. Now, I've been able to earn around 3,000 on average with the premium selling options, and that's a pretty even split between calls and puts. I primarily do three strategies. That's covered calls, vertical put credit spreads, and cash secured puts. And I started off trying to do 1,000, then I increased it, I think, to 1,500, then to 2,000, and recently I've been pretty steadily getting over 3,000. Now, that doesn't mean I can do it every month, but on average, sometimes I do a little better, sometimes I do a little worse, but I've steadily been able to bring in 3,000 in premium on my option sales. And again, I primarily sell options. If I do any purchases of options, it's just primarily to protect me on the downside, just if the market keeps going down and we hit new lows. Now with dividends, I did a video earlier this year. I think it was in July or September, and I was earning I think $1,300 a month. Well, now I'm up to over 1,700, 1,774 a month, and that I also believe the interest, some of that is interest, so it's dividends and interest. But I've been able to increase that substantially, and I'm looking to even increase it more. My goal is by the end of the year be doing closer to 2,000 a month. So you can see just with those two, just with options premium and dividends, you can do almost $5,000. If I got the dividends up to 2,000, it would be 5,000, and that's a huge amount. I live off of less than that. At the end of the video, I'll go over my actual budget, and I'll share with you guys how I do my calculations and how I figured out that I am financially independent. I'm still working, but part-time. I've got my own company, and I do software consulting, and I do it very part-time, maybe 10, 15 hours a week is all. And then Social Security. I added Social Security here since I know I'm 57 currently. I'm 10 years. I'll probably take it at 67. And this is the amount I would get on a monthly basis at 67. So I wanted to tie that in. You'll see in my budget at the very end why I did that, because I do kind of a structured budget. So you can see what I think I'll be earning till 59 and a half. Then when I hit the 59 and a half, and I can actually draw down my retirement accounts, what I'll make between 59 and a half and 67, and so on and so on. And after 67, when Social Security comes in, it really brings in a lot of extra income. So with that being said, let's actually jump into that spreadsheet I was talking about, and we can dig a little bit deeper and how I figure out where I stand and am I truly financially independent. So stick with me. Let's jump into the next part of the video. Okay, I've opened up my monthly budget worksheet, and I do want to mention that this will be available to all my patrons. I'll upload it to my membership. And if you're curious, you want to learn a little bit more about my memberships, take a look below. I'll have links. And as always, subscribe, hit that like button. It'd be greatly appreciated. So let's actually jump into my monthly budget. And a few things to note. One is the tax bill. It went up quite a bit this year, 4,800, and I'm sure this happened to a lot of people. But what I really wanted to share is when I turn 65, which is 8 years from now, I won't have to pay the school tax, so that'll drop significantly. It'll drop to around $700 or $800 that I'd have to pay total versus 4,800. That'll be another great savings that I can have. And again, related to savings, there's a lot of financial people who in the media who want you to believe that you're going to spend more during retirement. Actually, the numbers show a very different story. I'll add a link below for one of the other YouTube creators I like to follow. His name is Josh. He's a financial planner near here, and he's got a video that talks about exactly that usually you might spend a little bit more for your first couple of years, but once you hit your 70s and older, you end up eating at home more. You end up spending less, not more, even though the media wants you to believe that you spend more. They actually want to scare people to end up working longer, and they keep sharing stuff, fear mongering that you don't have enough and you need more and you need to keep working. And they get through to a lot of people. Even my ex-wife, they get through to her, and she feels like she needs to keep working and keep making more money, even though she, I think, is probably financially independent too. So the only other big interesting thing with this is my son is on my insurance policy. He's 19, and I have to pay quite a bit, close to 350 in insurance because he's 19 and doesn't have the best driving record. So um, I pay a little bit more for that. But these values are all taken from my credit cards and statements and bills, and you can see down at the bottom, I spend about 4,200 a month, and expenses are 50,000 a year. And I do have a HELOC, but I don't have a full mortgage. Most of my house is paid for. I think I've got a HELOC that I pay around 100. I think it's 115 a month or something, or 105. But again, these are actual expenses, and I keep track of it. And that's part of, for retirement, you really need to know what you need to live on. And this is what I figured out. And I update it every 6 months on the monthly budget side. Um, Now, on the right side is what's really interesting. There is a really good 4% rule calculator. It's actually 4percentrule.com. And you can actually plug in your numbers and see how you would do. And that's what I've done. I've got my brokerage account, and these totals are updated, where the current market is now, or where my current brokerage is based on the bear market. And then, so these are my two brokerages accounts, and these are all my retirement accounts. And I use those in my calculations because I do up until 59 and a half, then 59 and a half to 67, and then 67, which in a way is full retirement, from there and onwards. So here you can see my dividends. I've got my Schwab dividends. This is the 1,700 and some odd dollars a month. Now I did 2,500 versus 3,000, so really I could change this to 36,000. And then 3% rule and 4% rule, these are more related to retirement. I'm currently not using the 3% rule on my brokerage in my calculations currently. So if we come down to my current calculations, I would bring in 57,000, which is just these two dividends and premiums. I would bring in 57, which would be 47.74, and my budget's 42.13. So I've even, doing a little bit better than what my budget is, so, say I couldn't do as much, say this was 2,600 or 26,000, I would only be short 271, and that's where I might use this 3%. I might use some of this. They talk a lot about what percent will last. The 3%, when I use the 4percentrule.com, my money kept growing well into my 80s, and actually never, it left a huge nest egg for my son at some point. So, but I'm going to I'll put this back to 30,000, which gives me a small profit, but it's enough to live off of. And that's what I've been doing. I've been doing this for the last 2 years, and I've been living off what I've been making between dividends and my premiums. I do make a little bit of money doing consulting, probably around 12,000 a year, but a lot of that I've left in the business. I've got to actually restart salary maybe next year because right now I'm not taking much out. I'm reinvesting a lot of it. And then at retirement, 59 and a half. So at 59 and a half, I can start drawing down my retirement accounts, and that's where I am at that point, pulling in the 3 and 4% rule from here, and that's why I get up to 81,000. And that's probably the case if nearly 60 years old, for it to last 25 years, and I'm predicting I'll live to be about 85. It would last no problem using the 3 and 4% rule. Monthly, that brings you up to 6808. And budget, with some inflation, I probably need to increase this. I think I did 3% a year. Let's double that. So that would be 6%. I still have plenty of money from 59 and a half to 67. Then at 67, I get Social Security, and I'm assuming it's going to last, just like I mentioned about, a lot of fear mongering and saying you don't have enough money and you're going to spend more when you retire. Josh has also done some really good videos on that. So I can't remember exactly where those videos are, but he talks a lot about that too. Um, that he thinks Social Security will last and will be around. It's too big a voting block to allow it to be unfunded. So there'll probably be some changes, but I'm assuming by then it'll still at least be pretty close to what I can get now, or what it's showing I can get now, which would give me over 99,000 a year, and the net would be 1,900. Okay, so that pretty much wraps it up. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you come back, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining me.